Head over to losingmymind.com to check out our latest song, Genocide. Support our work. Now, onto the show. From Politico. Elon Musk backs Republicans ahead of midterms. Shared power curbs the worst excesses of both parties, Musk wrote in a tweet. He went on to say that he's always been independent, leaning Democrat. Now he's saying it's time to vote Republican. To independent-minded voters, shared power curbs the worst excesses of both parties. Therefore, I recommend voting for a Republican Congress, given that the presidency is Democratic, Musk wrote on Twitter. All right. I'll take it, I guess. He ain't wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the way to go personally. And I think a lot of the states where we have contentious elections, like New York suddenly was very contentious. We have Kathy Hochul, who is just the worst. I mean, she's terrible. And we have Lee Zeldin, who has the, broad support of the Jewish community that's been facing increasing anti-Semitism in the city. And suddenly Zeldin has pulled ahead in the polls. That's fascinating. Yeah. I don't think we've had a Republican governor in New York State since Pataki. Yeah,
when was
he was the last one. That was like 94.
That was 2000. I think he was also a Bilderberg member, George Pataki.
Oh, really?
I had a conversation with him. It didn't go as good as I thought it would.
Really?
But the argument that Elon Musk is making here is essentially, I was talking about this a couple days ago on this show, saying specifically the best government is no government. When the government is fighting each other, that's the government I want, because then the government isn't fighting you, the citizenry. And the points he makes here...
They're still spending all your money, though.
Well, not if they're not passing laws by having, of course, arguments about them and not agreeing with them. So they're spending less of your money. They're passing less laws when there's, of course, a juggernaut inside of the Capitol and all of them are disagreeing on what they should be doing.
But what we have going on right now is we have a Congress that disagrees with each other, that doesn't get anything done. And so then we have a president who just runs executive orders from the Oval Office, spending trillions of dollars in so doing on all kinds of random garbage.
Yeah. I mean, executive orders have been normalized by the previous presidents, and it seems like every president is doing it more and more. Yeah. I mean, Trump had a bunch of executive orders as well.
Obama had a ton.
Yep.
And he had more than Bush.
And I think we also have to counter and factor in the Federal Reserve policies that truly do matter when it comes to our money. But I'm not making the policy about even just the money. I'm talking about government intervening in your life. And I think that's what Elon Musk is calling for here, a checks of balances. So the Republicans say no to the Democrats say no to the Republicans. I'm all for that.
Yeah, I think what we'll end up seeing if we do have, the red wave is we're going to see all of these investigations because Congress won't be able to get any laws passed, but they will be able to dig into things and figure out what's been going on.
Agreed. Yeah. Subpoena power. Rand Paul, I guess, is going to be on like the health committee or something like that.
Yeah, and Marjorie Taylor Greene's going to get some committees back.
That's
she
right.
wants to be on the oversight committee? Is that what she said? Which one did she want to be on? But, she's got cool. McCarthy over a barrel a little bit, and he's going to have to put her on whatever she wants.
And then maybe a couple of years later,
great.
2 years later, we'll have new leadership. Maybe we'll get more America First candidates in, but this is a start.
What's the best government, Owen? Give us the answer here.
I don't know. I've had so many conflicting opinions of this as I've gotten older.
Minimal. Yeah. I think the challenge is with, I think a lot of these ideologies, communism, even anarchism, are utopian. They're idealistic. And humans are driven by emotion. One of the challenges with the marketplace of ideas argument that we should let all the ideas compete with each other, which I mostly agree with, is that what we've seen consistently from the left is exploitation of emotion for power. And so when you put every idea in the marketplace, and one idea is 2 + 2 = 4, the left comes in and says, you're a white supremacist. And you go, huh? And then it makes people feel bad. Those feelings drive them more than the facts do. So your argument only works insofar as you're able to effectively communicate. When you have people who are clearly not trying to communicate and trying to deceive and destroy, well, you get big problems. So we can say we want no government. We want to be libertarian. We want to say everybody can do their thing, but then evil people seek to exploit.
Well, it goes even deeper, too, when you have censorship. So now you can't even fight back effectively. I feel like if you have free speech openly and you can fight back, you can make really, really compelling arguments. I mean, if there was a platform where we could speak freely, the kind of content that I could make would be off the chains, but can't do it, right? So that's one part. Another thing, too, is that it's really, really sick and sociopathic when you see some of the most important issues in the world, things like being against white supremacy, then being twisted for some kind of political agenda. I mean, these are really, really important issues that then get twisted, and it actually devalues it, right? So if everybody's being called these things, it devalues it for when there's a real instance of that, which is just one of the sickest things that I've ever seen. And it's one of these things where then people are afraid to even give their opinion, because if you get painted with that brush, it's kind of like becoming radioactive.
Yeah, I'm for anarchy myself, because anarchy to me represents decentralization. And I think most of our problems in our society are plaguing from centralization. And I think the more we break up power, the more we allow individuals to decide for themselves that is right for them, I think that's the pathway that's going to help us.
But then maybe the real answer is not anarchy, but to recognize that a system the power will always begin to coalesce. And there needs to be a mechanism to immediately shatter that centralized power, and then recognizing that your decentralized system will slowly start to centralize again. I don't think we have in this country the proper mechanisms for reestablishing decentralization. And it's because power doesn't want to give itself up. So the Constitution has done a really great job of holding back rapid centralization. But even now, the Constitution is Swiss cheese.
Yeah, and things are really tightening up at a federal level. You even hear Biden talking about how if the Democrats hold Congress, they're going to pass, they're going to federally legalize abortion, even though that's not something that the populace as a whole wants. They're just going to do stuff anyway.
And they've been. When was the last time they declared war?
Yeah, they don't do that. They do.
Was it Vietnam?
They do instead, though, pass legislation about not being discriminatory based on people's hairstyles.
That's in New York. That's an actual law passed in New York City.
Yes.
Where if you get caught discriminating against someone's haircut, allegedly, you have to pay, what is it, $150,000 fine?
I don't know.
$125,000 fine?
That's for accidental. If it's a willful discrimination, it's $250.
That's insane. That's too much government. That's too much.
But I'm pretty sure they put that in at the federal level. I'm pretty sure that went through Congress.
I don't remember hearing that. I remember hearing it in New York City specifically.
Yeah, it was definitely in New York City, but they're also going to put through the thing, the federal level, where you basically can't be a freelancer anymore. The like AB5 in California. They're doing that. The PRO Act.
New York's doing that.
New York is doing that, but also the federal government is doing that.
I think what?
Yeah, Biden has been pushing for that for a while.
That's apocalyptic.
Dude. Yeah.
It's a devastating plan, because it means that people are no longer in control of their own work product.
Yeah. It means you can't be an independent.
You can't just be yourself and hire yourself out and do some work.
So AB5, for those unfamiliar, it was this law they passed in California that said something like, it was different per job, but if you do a certain number of jobs as an independent contractor, you're now an employee. Mm-hmm. What happened was instantly, my favorite thing, Vox, SB Nation, fired all their freelancers.
They had to, because they couldn't do it, and they couldn't be a freelancer in California anymore. And also the companies that the law was designed to go after, like Uber and some other ones, got waivers. Right. Yeah. So they didn't have to do it.
But here's the way it works. Under this law, and if with the PRO Act, is that New York or is that federal one?
The PRO Act, that would be federal.
So this is what that means. Let's say you make birdhouses for a living. And then you go to a local shop and say, I'd like to sell you this birdhouse. They'd be like, I can't buy from you because if I buy too many, then you're an employee. Mm-hmm. Wait, what? I'm just trying to sell you a birdhouse.
Well, and then they have all the regulations about different ways that you have to treat your employees, and you have to give, sick leave and parental leave and
communism.
all of these things. And the other thing too is like, you're just a person. You want to work out of your house. You don't want to be beholden to some company. You don't want them to tell you what to do. And the next thing you know, you can't, make your.
So I'm reading online.
I'm an employer based out of California, and I can tell you that once they started bringing that stuff in, we actually decided just to shrink. And then when COVID happened, we decided to shrink even more, and we actually became a lot more efficient and profitable. I was the kind of person where we usually have around 100 employees, and I did that because I just like to hire people. I just want people to get paid, and I like making jobs. But when they start messing with you like that, you're like, you know what? Forget it. We're just going to become more efficient, and that's what we did.
And now there's homeless people everywhere because they're struggling to function in the society.
Yeah.
Well, vote for more of it, I guess. Tomorrow, hey, here's your chance if you want to burn it all down. Yeah, but I'm not even kidding. Many of these far leftists are like, if you vote for them, they will keep burning it down. Mm-hmm. There you go.
I actually hit a point where, because I run a seminars company and they wouldn't let us do seminars anymore during COVID. And I decided just to travel around and just hang out in the outdoors. I skied every major ski resort. I went to almost every national park. I just drove the country. I said, I'm good. I don't need to run some big company. We can run it more profitably without all that stuff. We just liked making jobs. But if they're saying that they're going to mess with us like that, what's the incentive? Like, how do I know they're not going to lock down again? Mm-hmm. I don't know that. So I don't care if they're going to play those games like Atlas Shrugged. You ever read Atlas Shrugged, Ayn Rand?
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm chill. It's all good.
You got to leave
they're-
California.
Yeah, they're. I mean, I am, and they're I want to move to Wyoming. Actually, I want to ski, but they're demoralizing employers.
Yeah, it sucks. It's been horrible out there.
Why
But
are
they're
you
doing
still
that
there?
across. Yeah, they're doing that across.
LA
the
is pretty
board,
awesome.
though.
It actually is pretty awesome.
LA
but,
is
but
not really
It's
awesome.
super duper awesome. You're in the right place.
I've lived there.
Come visit sometime. I invite you guys. Come
I've
crash
been
me in
to
LA.
LA.
I lived there for
You
a
guys
couple
got to
years.
come crash me in LA. It's a lot of fun. But
I've lived there for a couple of years. It's not awesome.
you got to live in the right place. But where'd you live?
I lived in Koreatown, I lived in Westwood, and I lived in North Hollywood.
Okay. Well, I hope you'll come visit sometime. I want to show you around. But okay, just come.
You
visit.
lived in the
But-
right places, it
but-
turns out.
Yeah,
Turns out, yeah, and it was
apparently
awful.
had the wrong experience.
Yeah, but the point being is that Caruso might get in. We're all hoping for Rick Caruso. We're all praying
You're
for
still
Rick
going to have
Caruso.
Newsom, and he's a menace.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.